Hello everyone, this is part 2 video on past year NEET questions from the topic S block elements. So here we look at questions from both the alkali metals as well as alkaline earth metals. Okay, so now those who are looking at this video can probably take a look at the first part also, so that you will have continuity of questions. We will start with a question that has come in the NEET paper 1 of 2016. It's a straight reaction based question. The product obtained as a result of the reaction of nitrogen, so we consider N2, reaction of nitrogen gas means N2 with calcium carbide, CaC2. So when calcium carbide reacts with nitrogen gas, right, at very high temperature, it will form calcium cyanamide. So what is calcium cyanamide? CaCN2. So CaCN2, it's also commonly called as nitrolime. So nitrolime, it's a fertilizer itself, and also on hydrolysis it will give cyanamide. What is cyanamide? NH2CN is cyanamide. So cyanamide is what? NH2CN. So the answer for this question is what? If calcium carbide is heated with nitrogen at high temperature, it will give us the calcium cyanamide, which is CaCN2. So the correct answer for this is option C. So the common name for cyanamide, calcium cyanamide, is what? Nitrolime. And it is also used as a fertilizer. So we have to look at all these aspects because so any reaction in the NCERT textbook, right, they can always frame variety of questions based on that. Next we look at a question that has come in the year 2015. On heating, which of the following releases CO2 most easily? Means if you look at it, right, what are given to us? Carbonates: sodium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, calcium carbonate, and the potassium carbonate. See here, when we talk about the carbonate, so any carbonate on heating giving CO2 means it is actually thermal decomposition. So it is a thermal decomposition. So thermal decomposition will come when the lattice is less stable. So the one which is having lattice less stable, right, that will be easily undergoing thermal decomposition. If you look at the carbonate ion, it's a large anion. Carbonate ion is what? It's a large anion. Now in terms of the lattice energy, right, large anions they will be fit well into the lattice if we have a large cation. So which means to balance the large anion size, right, if you have large cation, then the adjustment of these ions will be efficient in terms of the lattice, and that is going to give a high lattice energy. So what we see is, as we go down the group, right, because the size of the cations will be increasing. So if we talk about the alkali metals or alkaline earth metals, whichever, as you go down the group, the size of the cations is going to increase. If the size of cations is going to increase, means what? The cations are going to become large cations. So they can balance this large anion size, so that the lattice will start getting more and more stable. So what we are looking at is where it is unstable. That is when you can easily get the CO2. Means thermal decomposition happens easily. So if you look at the magnesium and calcium, right, so what is the order? Magnesium and calcium. Going down the group means calcium will be more stable. Calcium carbonate is more stable than magnesium carbonate. So magnesium carbonate will be able to give the CO2 easily in comparison to calcium. The other two carbonates are what? Sodium and potassium. See, whenever we look at the alkali metals and alkaline earth metals, right, the size of the alkali metal ion will be larger. Alkali metal ion size will be larger. Alkali metal atoms are itself larger, right, than the alkaline earth metals, which means the stability, right, the thermal stability of the carbonates will be more for the alkali metals. Alkali metal carbonates are more stable than the alkaline earth metals. So again, here also in the case of sodium and potassium, right, potassium is more stable than sodium. And between sodium and magnesium, the sodium is what? Same period, alkali metal carbonate will be more stable than alkaline earth metal, which means what? Between sodium carbonate and magnesium carbonate, So sodium carbonate and magnesium carbonate, right? So which is going to be the one which is least stable? It is magnesium carbonate. So here we are looking at two comparisons. One is what? Group comparison. Second is what? The comparison between the alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. So look at this, the stability of the carbonates, right, increase down the group, okay, and this will be happening because of the increase in the size of the metal ion. What happens when the size of the metal ion increases? The carbonate ion being a large anion, for the lattice to become more stable, right, we should have the cation size also large. So generally understand this principle, a large cation and a large anion, right, they will be able to fit into the lattice efficiently. Similarly, a small cation and small anion, basically saying the cation size and anion size should be comparable. So that will give a better efficient packing of the lattice, and the lattice will also be more stable. So here, since the anion is a large anion, we will require a large cation for the lattice to be stable. That will be the deciding factor. Thermal stability is always decided by the lattice energy. So if the stability is increasing down the group, means what? Here we have sodium potassium comparison, magnesium calcium. So potassium carbonate is more stable than sodium carbonate, calcium carbonate is more stable than magnesium carbonate. So now our task is to find out between the sodium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. Sodium carbonate is alkali metal and magnesium is what? Alkaline earth metal of the same period. Between these two, right, which will be a larger ion? Sodium ion will be a larger ion. So the stability of that will be more. So the alkali metal carbonates, right, they will be more stable than the alkaline earth metal carbonates when we compare the same period elements. Means between sodium and magnesium, right, which will be more stable? Sodium will be more stable, sodium carbonate. Again, if you are even looking at between potassium and calcium, I mean that is not a part of this question, but I am just saying, if you are looking between potassium and calcium, right, which will be more stable? Potassium carbonate will be more stable than calcium carbonate, okay. So among these given carbonates, the one that is least stable is what? Magnesium carbonate. So it will readily decompose to give you magnesium oxide and then CO2. So the correct answer for this is option B, which is magnesium carbonate. Next we have a question that has come in 2015. 20 grams of a magnesium carbonate sample decomposes on heating. Just now only we were discussing about it, right, in the previous question. It decomposes on heating to give carbon dioxide and 8 grams of magnesium oxide. So what it gives when the magnesium carbonate is heated, it gives us what? The CO2 and magnesium oxide. This is what we have seen in the previous question also. What will be the percentage purity of the magnesium carbonate? Okay, this is a little different because they are giving 20 gram sample, right, and based on the stoichiometric equation, if we take some amount of magnesium carbonate, we can tell if the magnesium carbonate is fully decomposed, right, we can tell what is the amount of CO2 that will come, what is the amount of MgO that will come. Here they have actually given us what is the amount of MgO that comes. What is the amount of MgO that is coming? They are giving us 8 grams, okay, and it basically means the 20 gram sample of magnesium carbonate, right, is having impurities. The 20 gram sample of magnesium carbonate is not fully pure, it is actually having impurities. So we need to find what is the percentage purity of the magnesium carbonate. So what we will do is we will look at the stoichiometry. So what is the stoichiometry relation? Magnesium carbonate, if you look at the atomic mass of magnesium is what? 24. So 24 plus carbon is what? 12 plus 3 oxygens, 3 into 16. Totally what is the molecular mass? 84 grams. And magnesium oxide, 12 into 2, magnesium is what? 24 plus oxygen is what? 16, totally 40 grams, okay. So the 84 grams of magnesium carbonate on decomposition will give us what? 40 grams of magnesium oxide. So we want to have 40 grams of magnesium oxide, means we will be requiring 84 grams of magnesium carbonate. But here how much amount of the MgO we are getting? We are actually getting 8 grams of MgO, that is already coming for us. Now based on this relation, right, what is the mass of magnesium carbonate that will be required to give us 8 grams of the magnesium oxide? What is the mass of the magnesium carbonate required? So how do we get it? Proportion, right, means what? X by 84 will be equal to what? This 8 by 40. X by 84 is equal to 8 by 40, means X value will be equal to what? 8 by 40 means 1 by 5. So 1 by 5 into 84. we will not simplify it, we will just keep it as it is. Okay, so this is the X amount. What is X? X is the actual amount of the magnesium carbonate required, because of which we will get 8 grams of magnesium oxide. But the sample mass is what, 20 grams, right? So X is the actual magnesium carbonate in that sample. Means we are looking for the percentage of purity, right? Means what? Percentage purity is going to be what? The value of X divided by total mass is what? 20 into 100, correct? Which means what? X is 84 by 5 into 20 into 100. We can see the 5 will come to denominator. What is 20 into 5? Again 100 only. So 100 is cancelled. So we get a very easy calculation step. So what is the percentage purity? It will be 84 percentage. What we are doing, it's a very, it's more like a basic concepts of chemistry question. So we have magnesium carbonate that will undergo the dissociation to give magnesium oxide. As per the stoichiometry, molar mass of magnesium carbonate is what? 84 grams. 1 mole of magnesium carbonate gives 1 mole of magnesium oxide. Means 84 grams of magnesium carbonate gives 40 grams of magnesium oxide. If you are looking to get 8 grams of magnesium oxide, means what is the actual amount of magnesium carbonate required? That is what we are calling as X. The proportion method, we are getting X. What is it? X value? 84 by 5. That is the X value. This will be the pure amount, pure MgCO3 amount. But what is the total sample mass? 20 grams, right? So we have to find the percentage purity. What is the percentage purity? The pure MgCO3 magnesium carbonate mass divided by the mass of the sample, 20 into 100. Okay, so the correct answer is option C, which is 84 percentage. Next, we have a question that has come in the 2015 cancelled paper. The function of sodium pump is a biological process operating in each and every cell of all animals. So there is a protein that will actually do this role. Which of the following biologically important ions is also constituent of the pump? Okay, the sodium pump, right? Actually the pump is called as what? The pump will be called as a sodium potassium pump. The pump will be called as what? Sodium potassium pump. So in most of the animal cell physiology, right, we'll see that there will be protein that will perform this operation. So where it will maintain the internal concentration of potassium ions higher than the surrounding medium. So means the concentration of potassium ions will be higher than the surrounding medium, and the internal concentration of sodium ions will be lower than that of the surrounding medium. So potassium ions concentration inside the cell will be higher than surroundings. Sodium ions concentration inside the cell will be lower than the surroundings. Okay, so this is how the sodium potassium pump will be able to maintain the concentrations of both sodium and potassium, and this will be required in terms of the metabolic activity that will be required inside the cell. But yeah, the question here is not about all these phenomena, etc. Maybe we can have a couple of more questions framed on that, like they can ask for the cell, where the potassium concentration will be higher. So potassium concentration will be higher inside the cell, sodium concentration will be higher outside the cell. Okay, so anyway, so here the question is what they're asking, what is the other constituent? So along with sodium, what is the other constituent? It is potassium. So the correct answer is what? Option A. Next, we have a question that has come in again, the 2015 cancelled paper. The solubility of alkaline earth metal sulfates. Alkaline earth metal sulfates means what? The sulfates of the second group elements. So here if you look at it, they are not giving us the beryllium, they are giving us magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. The solubility of alkaline earth metal sulfates in water decreases in the sequence. See, solubility of any salt. So here we are talking about the sulfates. See, what are the two steps involved in the solubility? First, if you take any sulfate, whether you take magnesium or calcium or strontium or barium, first we must break the lattice, because the solid lattice has to be broken. Means there will be the lattice energy that will come into picture. Now once the lattice is broken, the ions will come and the ions will get into the water. So when the ions are hydrated, we will get what? Hydration energy. So there are two energy factors involved when we talk about the solubility. What are the two energy factors? One is the lattice energy, because first the ionic lattice has to be broken. Second is what? Hydration. What is hydration energy concept? Once the ions are getting dissolved, they will get hydrated. So here, when the solubility will be more, so look at this, when the solubility will be more when there is a favorability in terms of the energetics, which means the lattice energy should be less and the hydration energy should be what? More. I mean, this is like both sides favorable. Why? Because lattice energy is the energy required, energy we have to spend, and hydration energy is the energy released. So if the lattice energy is less and hydration energy is more, right, means that particular salt is going to easily dissolve. So if you look at the alkaline earth metal sulfates, right, sulfate ion is a large anion. So large anions, when they are having a large cation, the lattice energy will be more efficiently, the lattice will be more efficiently arranged, and lattice energy also will be high. Means if you go down the group, since the sulfate ion is a large anion, right, go down the group means what? The cation size will increase. If you go down the group means the cation size will be increasing. Okay, so which means what? Which results in increase in, this results in increase in the lattice energy. So if you're looking at magnesium and then calcium, then strontium, then barium, right, the barium sulfate will be having high lattice energy. Magnesium sulfate will be having what? Less lattice energy. Okay, then the other thing is about the hydration energy. See, among these ions, right, magnesium 2 plus, calcium 2 plus, then strontium 2 plus, then barium 2 plus, the size of the magnesium is least. So because of the less size, right, all of them are having the same charge. The magnesium ion will have a high charge density. Because of high charge density, right, the magnesium ion will be able to attract large number of water molecules or large number of water molecule layer around it. So that is why we, in fact, even more than magnesium, right, the beryllium Bu2 plus, it will have even more high charge density. So that will be even more hydrated. So the hydration will be more in case of magnesium. So if you look at it, right, what we are observing, as we go down the group, lattice energy is increasing. As you go down the group, the hydration energy will be decreasing. So the hydration energy will be what? Decreasing. Because magnesium, because of the small size, it will have high charge density, so it will be more hydrated. So if you look at both these things, right, at the top, magnesium, we have low lattice energy, we can see magnesium we have low lattice energy and high hydration energy. So which means that will be the one which is easily going to soluble. So the solubility of alkaline earth metals, if you are looking at the order, right, so what will be the order? As you go down the group, what is going to happen? The solubility will be decreasing. Why? Magnesium, it will have the magnesium sulfate, it will have the least lattice energy and highest hydration energy. That will be favorable in both sides. So what is the correct order for this? It is magnesium sulfate will be more soluble than calcium sulfate, will be more soluble than strontium, than barium. Here we are to look at both these factors, lattice energy and then hydration energy. So in this case, right, both are favoring what? Magnesium sulfate becoming more soluble. Next we have a theoretical question on the Kastner-Kellner process. This is a question that has come in 2013 NEET paper, Karnataka. In Kastner-Kellner cell, for the production of sodium hydroxide. So Kastner-Kellner cell is a special method for the preparation of sodium hydroxide. So it is not like the general electrolysis. So the normal electrolysis of brine solution, right? Brine solution means what? Aqueous solution of NaCl. That will in the presence of inert electrodes like platinum, that will give the chlorine gas at the anode, and H2 will be evolved at the cathode, and we will see inside the solution we will have sodium hydroxide. This is a normal electrolysis of brine solution. But Castner-Kellner process is a specific method. So what is the Castner-Kellner process? We have a setup where there will be two chambers of electrolysis. One is what we call as the outer. So we can see in the outer, right, both sides we have what? Brine solution. That is where the brine solution will be fed. And here we will have the graphite as the anode. So the anode will be what? Graphite, and the cathode will be, this is the cathode. Okay, so this is the cathode. This side also, cathode will be liquid mercury. So cathode will be liquid mercury, both sides. Now inside these cells on the either side, okay, so we call them as what? Outer electrolytic compounds. So outer cell, right, we will see that at the anode, because brine solution, right, at the anode the Cl minus ions will get discharged. So we will have the chlorine gas being formed, and at the cathode, so it is not the H plus ions will be getting discharged, it will be the Na plus ions. So there are reasons as to why instead of H plus, the Na plus will get reduced, because if you look at the reduction potentials only, right, reduction potential value for the H plus, reduction potential means what? The standard hydrogen electrode. What is the reduction potential value? 0. For Na plus, the reduction potential will be negative. So we expect that H plus will get reduced than Na plus normally. That's what happens in the normal electrolysis. But here the role of the electrode also comes into picture. The mercury, liquid mercury electrode, right, unlike a platinum, this is a reactive electrode. Generally platinum electrodes, what in it? So what happens is the Na plus, if it is getting discharged, it can dissolve into mercury, thereby the overall entropy of the process, right, will be increasing. So here it is not just about looking at what is the discharge potential, it is also about looking at the overall process. So once the sodium metal is formed, the sodium metal is not going to stay as a solid, it is going to dissolve into the mercury, and thereby the entire process entropy will be increasing. So this favors the discharge of Na plus at the mercury electrode. So frankly, I mean, if you look at the electrochemistry chapter, right, there we will be able to understand more as to why in case of the Castner-Kellner cell, the Na plus will get discharged at the mercury electrode. Okay, so here it's sufficient if you understand that, okay, Na plus is getting discharged at the mercury electrode. Now the Na plus that is discharged will form a metal, sodium, that is dissolved in the mercury. So the dissolved sodium will come to the other side. Other side means what? It is coming to the inner cell part. Inner cell part, you will have the same mercury. See, the other side it is acting as what? Cathode. This side the same mercury will be acting as an anode. So the inner cell, right, the mercury will be acting as an anode, where the sodium that has come to the inner side, this side the sodium has come, right, this will undergo the oxidation, thereby it forms what? Na plus ions. And here the cathode will be the iron cathode. So at the cathode there will be the reduction of water that will produce H2. So overall, if you see what is happening, so if you look at the outer part as well as inner part, overall if you see what is going to happen is, in the outer cells the NaCl amount is going to keep on decreasing, and in the inner cell the NaOH amount is going to keep on increasing, and the NaOH will be formed inside the inner part of the cell. So the overall cell reaction also we can see, because the inner cell, whatever the anode reaction, outer cell the cathode reaction, right, they both are essentially the same. So overall what you see is chlorine gas that is getting liberated at the graphite anode, that's a part of the outer cell, and hydrogen gas liberated at the iron cathode, that is a part of the inner cell. Okay, so if you look at this entire working of the Castner-Kellner cell, right, now let's go to the options. What is option A telling us? Option A is saying that brine is electrolyzed using graphite electrodes. No, this is not correct. Why? Because we have not, the electrodes fully are not graphite electrodes. The outer cell anode is a graphite, cathode is what? Mercury. Inner cell Anode is mercury plays the role of anode, and cathode role is played by the iron. Second is what? Molten sodium chloride is electrolyzed. No, this is also not correct. Why? Because what is electrolyzed? It is the brine solution. Option C is saying what? Sodium amalgam is formed at mercury cathode. That is correct. So at the mercury cathode means we are talking about the outer cell. What is happening? Sodium amalgam is basically formed. In fact, that is the reason why the discharge of Na plus is happening over the discharge of H plus. So the correct answer is what? Option C. We can look at option D also. What is option D telling us? Brine is electrolyzed with platinum electrodes. No, it is not about the platinum electrodes. So the correct answer is what? Option C. Next we have a question that has come in 2012. Which one of the alkali metals forms only the normal oxide M2O on heating in air? See, if you look at lithium, right, lithium is the only alkali metal that forms simple oxide, Li2O. Sodium can form sodium peroxide. Sodium will form sodium oxide, and also it will form sodium peroxide. And potassium and rubidium, right, so they can even form superoxides, KO2 and RbO2. Potassium and rubidium, they can even form superoxides. So what is the one that will form the normal oxide? It is just lithium. Sodium can form sodium peroxide, and potassium onwards they can even form the superoxides. So the correct answer for this is option C. Next we have a question that has come in the year 2012. The ease of adsorption. Adsorption means what? From if you look at adsorption, there are different types of adsorption. So we can have a gas getting adsorbed on the surface of a solid, or the solute particles from a solution getting adsorbed onto the surface of a solid. Okay, so here we look at the ease of adsorption of hydrated alkali metal ions on ion exchange resin will be in which order? So if you look at the ion exchange resins, right, so we'll have the solution containing these ions. Okay, now these alkali metal ions, this is a method to remove the alkali metal ions from a particular solution. They will be removed by using this ion exchange resin method. So when they come and get adsorbed, adsorption means what? Coming and sticking to the surface. Okay, there will be the ion exchange that can happen. So the alkali metal ions from the solution, right, can be replaced by another ions that can be given from the ion exchange resin. So the basic principle for this will be how easily these ions are getting adsorbed on the surface. See, the ease of adsorption, right, will depend upon the charge density of the ions. So if you look at the Li plus, right, lithium being small in terms of size, its charge density will be what? All alkali, lithium, sodium, then potassium, then rubidium, all of them, right, they will have the same charge, which is +1 unit charge. Charge is same, and since charge is same, when it comes to charge density, right, which is going to have a high charge density, the lithium will be having a high charge density. So when the charge density is more, that can easily come and get adsorbed on the surface of the ion exchange resin, because that will be having a higher affinity because of the high charge density. Charge density, we can look at it like what? When the charge density is more, that particle will be more attracted towards the resin. Ion exchange resin will have anion part, right? Here you will have anion, so the anion part will be attracting typically. So when you have a high charge density means that particular ion can easily come and get adsorbed. So what will be the order? The ease. Lithium will be able to easily get adsorbed than sodium, than potassium, than rubidium. So we can say the correct order will be what? Rubidium will be less than potassium, less than sodium, less than lithium. So what is the basic principle here? When the charge density is more, that particular ion, right, will be attracted more strongly by the anion part of the resin. So when the anion part of the resin is attracting, right, then it will come and get adsorbed on the surface. Next we have a question that has come in 2011. Which of the following compounds has lowest melting point? So whenever we talk about the melting point, right, we'll have to look at the ionic nature. So melting point means we have to talk about the ionic nature. So if you see the given compounds, right? All of them are what? The compounds of calcium. So what do we have? Calcium fluoride, then we have calcium chloride, then we have calcium bromide, then we have calcium iodide. See, among these calcium halides, right, as you go down the halogen group, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, as you go down the halogen group, what is going to happen? The ion size is going to increase. Remember, when the anions are large, that will favor what? That will favor covalent characteristics. So when the anions are large, that will favor what? Covalent characteristics. So here, cation side, everything is same. Calcium, everywhere it is calcium. The only comparison will be coming in terms of the anion. So when the anion size is large, as per the Fazan's rules. What are the rules that we are discussing here? Fazan's rules, right? Fazan's rules will talk about what is the nature of the bond, whether it is ionic or covalent. Anion size large means what? That will be mainly covalent. So since as you go down the group, the anion size is increasing, right? Means covalent characteristics will be what? Increasing. When covalent characteristics are increasing, the melting points, because for ionic compounds, see, melting points are high for what? Melting points will be high for the ionic. Melting points are high for the ionic compound. In fact, that's a characteristic of the ionic compounds, right? So here calcium iodide, since it is more covalent, its melting point will be the lowest. So the correct answer for this is option C. Next, we have a question that has come in the year 2011. Which one of the following is present as an active ingredient in bleaching powder for bleaching action? See, if you look at the bleaching powder, right? So what is the active ingredient of the bleaching powder? It is calcium hypochlorite. What is the chemical formula for this? It is CaOCl twice. So calcium hypochlorite, right? It is the active ingredient of the bleaching powder, which is used in various applications, like whether it is the water treatment or for the bleaching agent in terms of the bleaching of organic dye, etc. Okay, so the bleaching powder, which is the commercial product that is used, will contain what? Mainly CaOCl twice. It is calcium hypochlorite, and the bleaching action is because of the ability that it will be able to act on the the coloring substance or dye, and it will be able to react. So the reaction will be changing the chemical nature of the dye or the organic pigment. That's the reason why we will talk about the bleaching action. So generally it results in the removal of color, but also it will be used for the water treatment, etc. So this is about the part 2 video, and we'll see in the part 3.